The United States was founded on a revolutionary idea that power derives from the people and government is restrained by the Constitution. But history whispers warnings, episodes in which fear, division, and the hunger for control have twisted this vision of individual freedom and limited government into something darker and unrecognizable. Today, those warnings are growing louder. Concepts such as due process and habeas corpus are being discounted unnecessary to the rule of law. Indeed, the rule of law itself is giving way to a cultish worship of authority, which can easily give rise to elements of a police state. In 1942, the US witnessed a particularly shameful act of authoritarianism, when over 125,000 Japanese American citizens were stripped of homes, businesses, and their dignity, imprisoned in internment camps, not for crimes, but for their race and their ancestry. In response to criticism about these internments, Assistant Secretary of War John McCloy dismissed the Constitution as, quote, just a scrap of paper. Police states thrive when rights become negotiable and authorities abandon transparency and the rule of law. As part of COINTELPRO, the FBI's secret war on 1960s dissent, the agency spied on, framed, and even assassinated civil rights leaders and activists. For 15 years, the government weaponized law enforcement in order to silence critics, giving us yet another example that unchecked power corrupts absolutely. Today, new blueprints for totalitarian government are emerging. Implementing the Heritage Foundation's Project 2025, Trump is seeking to simultaneously purge the federal bureaucracy, including traditionally independent agencies like the Department of Justice and the FBI, and place them entirely under his direct personal control, using executive orders rather than implementing congressionally debated and implemented laws. Trump is carrying out policies with minimal checks from Congress or the judiciary, fundamentally altering the balance of power among the branches of government. Additionally, Trump is removing employment protections for tens of thousands of career civil servants and replacing them with political loyalists, further eroding barriers to his most authoritarian tendencies. Stephen Miller, architect of Trump's immigration policies, recently declared habeas corpus, the 800-year-old right to challenge imprisonment, a mere privilege that the government can revoke whenever it decides to declare the US is being invaded, whether or not an invasion is actually occurring. So who defines an invasion? According to the Constitution, only Congress has the power to declare war. However, the Republican-controlled Congress has abdicated this authority and responsibility, again leaving Trump to implement whatever schemes he chooses. Into this void, Trump has inserted his will in the form of executive orders that seek to override the Constitution, but more often than not, result in litigation and the government fighting with itself. Following his Agenda 47, based on Project 2025, Trump goes even farther, deploying federal troops for law and order, purging schools of unpatriotic teaching, seeking to tax colleges and universities out of existence, extorting law firms who have opposed him in the past, and investigating political opponents and prosecutors who dare challenge his authority. Habeas corpus, due process, and the rule of law are not mere abstract ideas. Indeed, they are direct challenges to his trashing of the Constitution. They are necessary elements of a system in which freedom and liberty are protected, and justice is sought and sometimes achieved. When a president floats suspending civil rights for a short time, or praises authoritarian leaders like Xi and Putin, it normalizes the unthinkable. When he pardoned and even monetarily rewards January 6 rioters while threatening to jail journalists, judges, and political opponents, the line between justice and vengeance disappears. The military's oath to defend the Constitution rather than a person may be our last firewall. Yet studies show alarming numbers of Americans now prefer a strong leader over democracy. If the 42% who crave authoritarianism outnumber the guardians of liberty, the firewall cracks. Due process isn't bureaucracy, it's the bedrock. The rule of law cannot exist without it. It demands evidence over suspicion, fairness over fear. Without it, law becomes a weapon. Today's targets and their supporters are moving quickly from mere dissenting into demonstrating. History doesn't repeat itself, but it does echo. The Palmer raids, McCarthyism, stop and frisk, each began with promises of safety. Each left scars. Vigilance isn't paranoia, it's preservation. The question isn't whether America will become a police state overnight. It's whether we recognize the steps and step forward before the descent into autocracy is complete. Constitutions, after all, are only paper if we don't fight for them. The next chapter is only now being written.